Hi, I'm Steve Casely from CBD Nugget, and this nugget is focused on the Prince2 process model, or Steve's word, and maybe I should stop using Steve's words and stick with the Prince2 words, but the project lifecycle, or probably more appropriately, the project management lifecycle, the processes that we're going to follow as project managers to successfully deliver our project following the Prince2 method. And what's in the Princess model should come as no surprise to you. We've discussed it already in our overview nuggets. These are the steps of Prince2 as defined by following what we do as project managers. In this nugget, we'll provide an overview of directing a project, DP, starting up a project, SP, initiating a project, IP, controlling a stage, CS, managing project delivery, MP, managing a stage boundary, SB, and finally closing a project, or CP. And yes, I repeat myself a lot. This is probably the 8th or 9th time already in this nugget that I've reviewed these 7 processes. But I repeat myself because these 7 processes are the fundamental component of Prince2. I've suggested you need to memorize these. And to help you in the memorization, I'm going to keep repeating them over and over and over. No, not really, but to aid in your understanding and ability to apply these processes. We will spend a significant amount of time in this nugget series. As a matter of fact, this nugget and the next 8 nuggets in this series are all focused on these Prince2 processes. This nugget is going to give us the overview of what happens in each of these 7 processes, and then we will have a subsequent nugget which will drill in detail, focusing on exactly what happens in direct a project, and another nugget focused on starting up a project. But enough of that. Let's continue and overview what Prince2 processes are. And I think that's best described by going away from text and having a look at the picture of how these processes interact with each other. And here we have that process model. I've displayed the process model from Wikimedia Commons, and consistent with their reuse capabilities, full credit goes to www.bizacademy.com for making this graphic available to us in the public domain. And again, just a reminder that Prince2 is public domain itself, as provided by the British government, and therefore not only this diagram, but there's lots of other material in the public domain that organizations can use and adopt as they roll out Prince2 in their organization. Now, this is the Prince2 process model, and it is a very busy diagram, and probably a diagram that you should sit down and review at your own time after you finish this nugget itself. But I do want to take a few minutes and walk through it to help orient us to the Prince2 process model. And we'll start off with directing a project, DP, across the top, which is where we get senior management's approval. Authorize, 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 give ad hoc direction, and authorize project closure. So directing the project is all about getting the senior management approval for our project. Our project management activities take place in this space, and we start off with starting up a project, SU, and after we do the SU, we produce the project brief and the project plan. We send it up to management, we get it approved, we get the authority to proceed, and we move into the serious planning of the project. We go initiating the project and we do IP. We produce the project initiation document, which is primarily the project plan, identifies the budget, the schedule, and all of the other aspects to the project. We send that back up for senior management approval. We get it, and then we begin to do the first stage of our project with controlling the stage. So again, assuming our first stage of our project is analysis, we're going to control the analysis stage and ensure that all of the tasks for the analysis stage are completed on time and on budget. And we do that through managing the project delivery, where we ensure that our team is producing all of the analysis deliverables. We do the project management, controlling the plan, the schedule, the cost, in controlling the stage, and the team produces the project deliverables in managing the project delivery. When analysis is done, we move into our next process, which is the SB, the managing the stage boundary. We submit all the results of our stage to senior management. We get approval. We plan the next stage. We submit that, and we get approval to proceed. And then we start this parallel process again, where we, project management, control the design activities and ensure that the design stage is going to be on time, on budget, on schedule. And the team produces the design deliverables. We present the results to senior management, get approval for design, replan the next stage, present it, and get approval. So this is very much an iterative repeating process for every stage. And then when we're all done, we move into our final process where we close the project and we present the final results to management. So with that laid out, we can move into our first overview details of our processes. The first one is directing a project DP. And in this particular process, the key, as already discussed, is providing for ensuring that we get management approval. We get management approval to initiate the project. We get a management approval to plan the project. And we get management approval to initiate each new stage in our project. And the second key aspect of directing a project, again, involves management, where we ensure that we're getting acceptance from management for our project results. Dear boss, I have completed my analysis stage. Here are all my deliverables. Did I do a good job? Do you accept the results? And those are the primary facets for directing a project. I want to draw your attention to this one I have in the middle, which is support project. And that's an equally critical aspect for directing a project that's often overlooked, with the focus on senior management approval. And in support the project, this is where we're going to rely on senior management to help our project on an as-needed basis. As a project manager, I am given the power and the authority to deliver the project. Dear Steve, you're a trusted, valuable project manager in an organization. We need you to go forth and deliver this project. And here's the power, here's the authority. I appoint Steve the project manager. Everybody in the organization listen to Steve. He's managing this project. That's great. But there will be times when I don't have the power and authority, because I'm not the senior management in the organization, to make decisions, to make things happen for my project. Maybe I need additional funding to buy new tools. Maybe I need to get a contentious decision resolved. I got 3 different business units all requesting different decisions because it favors their own department. So I need to elevate that decision process to senior management. Maybe I have a business unit who simply is too busy to support the project. So I need to elevate that to senior management. So that's what I'm talking about here in supports the project. Provides the support to ensure that the decisions, that the actions that Steve doesn't have the power and the authority to do are done for the project. Engage senior management. Ensure that you understand the value of directing a project, because with senior management engaged, your project is going to be far more likely to successfully succeed because we have the full support of those senior managers. Our next process, but really the first project management process, is starting up the project, the SU. SU should be very brief. As I keep saying, SU is the validation of the eureka moment. Some business owner had an idea that if a project was initiated, our organization would be very successful or would be more successful. And chances are that business owner had an excellent idea. But in starting up the project, we're going to validate the scope. That's the validation of the eureka moment. Yes, your idea makes sense. I spent a little bit more time, and when I say a little bit more time, a day or two validating that your idea is sound, that we have the technology, we have the ability to complete the project, and the results that you're expecting from this project make sense. The next aspect to starting up the project is confirming the business justification. Does it make financial sense? The cost for the project is going to be $50,000 and the annual payback for the project is going to be, let's make it simple, $10,000, no interest, no cost of money, has a 5-year payback. Is that an acceptable return for the organization? Now, I know cost benefit analysis is much more complex than that. There is interest, there is cost of money, there is net present values that all need to come into it. But for the sake of simplicity, to get through this overview, we do the cost benefit justification. $50,000 cost, $10,000 annual benefit, cost payback of 5 years. Yes, that's consistent with our strategy for financial payback in our organization. It makes sense. Next, we identify the project team. Who are the team members that should be working on this project? Are they available? Do they have capacity? Can they work on the project? Then we're going to determine the project approach. How are we going to do this? Is a very complex project that needs full 100% prints and full 100% systems development life cycle? Or is this a simplistic project that can probably be done with, I'm going to call it a prints light and a systems development life cycle light? And finally, in starting up the project, we need to determine the quality expectations. What is the business's expectation for quality? And obviously the standard answer is, I expect high quality, and that's probably a true statement, but what does that mean? We have zero tolerance for errors. Probably not realistic. We know software development is prone to have errors. So what is your appetite for errors? Will you let the system go in if there are some minor complexion errors, some formatting errors, some workarounds? So what is the quality expectations? And with that, we have completed starting up the project. It is very brief, should be days to weeks long. And again, Steve's terminology, you'll never see this in Prince manuals, is the validation of the eureka moment. Does the idea from the business make sense? Is it justifiable? And do we have the capacity to deliver it? And with senior management's approval, we go into full out project planning. In Prince 2, we call that initiating the project, or IP. The focus of IP is developing the complete project plan, the project schedule, the project budget, the quality management plan, the risk management plan, and all aspects to successfully completing the project. But in order to ensure that we are doing the right plan, we need to do further project justification. Starting up the project was brief. Initiating the project is more comprehensive. So we're going to do a little bit further business justification. We're going to review and enhance and improve the business case. We're going to revalidate the cost justification. We're going to validate that initial guesstimate of $50,000 is realistic. And in fact, it's going to be a little bit less. It's going to be $43,000, or it's going to be a little bit more. It's going to be $62,000. If it's $62,000, but our benefit statement hasn't changed, does it still make sense to proceed with the project? And with all of the yeses to these aspects, we have the complete project plan. We define the scope and all of the work packages to identify all of the work required to successfully complete the project. This is where we developed that budget. This is where we did the refinement. We guessed it was 50, but now it turns out to be 63. This is where we refine the quality approach. This is the exact definition of what quality is acceptable. The project will be deemed successful if there are no critical errors. Well, I hope that's a true statement. The project will be deemed a success if there are no more than 1 serious flaws. The project will be deemed a success if there are no more than 5 minor defects, or whatever the definition of quality is going to be. And we'll spend significant time upfront in initiating the project, doing our risk planning to ensure we have a full, complete strategy in place to prevent bad things from happening on our project, and having contingencies in hand to deal with other bad things that happen throughout the project. We're going to present all of that for approval, and we develop our project baseline. This is the measurement from actuals to the baseline to determine project success. This work package to interview the business community was supposed to take 5 days. What are the actuals? The actual took 4.5 days. Sounds pretty good. This work package to review the current situation analysis document was supposed to take 4 days. In fact, it took 5.3 days. This is what the project baseline is all about, is establishing that measurement that we can compare our actuals to determine whether or not our project is going to be a success, whether our project is going to deliver on time or not. We complete project planning, we develop a complete project plan, we present it to senior management, and then we start up our first stage of our project. And with the project now in progress, as project managers, our focus is on controlling the stage, or CS. In controlling the stage, we assign and authorize the work package. Joe, I want you to take on this work package, which is interview the users. Sally, I want you to take on this work package, which is review in the current situation document. So as project managers, we assign and authorize our team to work on the work packages necessary to complete the project. We track the actuals. We get the results back from our team members. Joe, how much time did you spend? Sally, how much time did we spend? And so on, as we review all of the work packages, all of the results from the team members, and we use that to track and ensure our project is on schedule. And we do that by updating the project plan. Now again, typically we're going to use a piece of software, a Microsoft project, for example, to have the original baseline, to track the actuals, and then to update the plan, to adjust the plan for the reality that we get through project delivery. And the most critical aspect to controlling the stage is managing all of those other things that happen in the life of our project. Proactively managing risks, dealing with project issues as they come up, and dealing with them as quickly and effectively as possible so that they have a minimal impact on our project. Tracking and managing all action items, all of the things that we promised to do, we track and manage them through project completion. And finally, we report status, full, honest, complete status to our senior management so that they're aware of the project status. And when I say full, honest, and complete project status, if I'm beginning to feel something is going wrong on the project, I'm going to raise a yellow flag. Dear bosses, this is my status report, and I have some concerns about project delivery. I think I have it under control. Here's what I'm going to do to try to keep it under control, but I just wanted to let you know that I'm beginning to get a little concerned. Next week, I'm going to update the boss. I thought I had a small concern last week. I've tried these actions. It's moving forward, but it's not moving forward as successfully as I wanted it to. I'm going to continue to monitor it. I'm going to keep the yellow flag up, but just be aware of it. Next week, dear bosses, this isn't working out as well as I thought it was going to do. I think I'm going to turn my yellow flag to very light red, maybe call it pink. I'm just about to elevate this to you for action. Give me one more week to try, but if I can't get this resolved this week or next week, I'm going to raise it to you to use your power and authority to get your support to get the project done. And that's the full, honest, and complete status reporting, keeping management aware of project successes and keeping management aware of project challenges. Controlling the project is where we, the project managers, do everything in our power and authority to keep the project on track and working to plan. And in parallel with that, we have managing the project delivery, or MP. This is where the work gets done. This is where the team conducts those interviews. This is where the team reviews the current situation, and this is where the team produces all of the deliverable. This is where the team produces the analysis doc. This is the real work for the project. So our involvement, the project management activity, is monitoring the work and the results. Is the work getting done? Is the work getting done at the appropriate level of quality? It's validation of the quality. It's quality assurance and quality control. Are we doing the right things? And are we doing things right? Monitoring and validating that all of the results, all of the work packages, all of the work being done by the team is going to be acceptable. So that when we finally complete the stage and we present the stage results for acceptance, acceptance is going to be, I'm going to say, automatic. There should be no questions. Should be no concerns. The answer is yes. This is exactly what I expected because you've done your work well, and here's your acceptance to move on to the next stage. And finally, it's getting the information out of the team that we need to control. It's getting the actuals, it's getting the progress, it's getting the status report out of the team who are doing the work so that we can feed that into the previous process, which is controlling the stage. Managing project delivery is all about the team getting the project done. And next, probably the most critical aspect of our project management processes is managing the stage boundary, or SB. It's critical because this is where we plan the next stage. We have now completed analysis. We have an absolute, more comprehensive understanding of what it is the project needs. Having all of the answers from analysis in hand, we can do a much better job of identifying the work packages for design. We can do a much better job of identifying the estimates for design. We can do a much better job of identifying all of the risks that's going to impact design, as well as having a better understanding for all of the above for the future work that's going to be required for development and testing and implementation. So managing the stage boundary is all about validating that we're taking the right approach, that we're focused on project success, and that we're going to take all of the lessons learned, all of the new information in hand from the previous stage or previous stages, and use that to plan the next stage, which effectively results in our revalidation of the project. So this is where we reevaluate and refresh the business case. This is where we revalidate and refresh the cost-benefit analysis. This is where we revalidate and refresh and reconfirm the organization's commitment to the project. This is the forward-reaching or forward-focused aspects for managing the stage boundary. The other aspect for managing the stage boundary is going through the formal closing of the last stage, dusting off, completing the deliverables, presenting them to management, getting approval, getting the commitment that we've done all of the right things to complete the previous stage, which allows us, with this revalidation in hand, to move forward and gain acceptance to start the next stage. Don't underestimate the importance of managing a stage boundary, learning from, taking advantage of, leveraging all of the new information that we have from the last stage, developing better plans for the future, and securing the corporate commitment to proceed to the next stage. Does this project still make sense? And finally, closing the project, or CP. Much like start up a project, closing a project should be very brief, but it is very important. The first focus of closing the project is final acceptance, presenting the final deliverables to the business, getting the business commitment that we have satisfied all of the objectives of the project. And another key activity that I'm simply calling project finalization. That's tying all of the knots, that's dotting all of the I's and crossing all of the T's. Is it implemented? This is warranty support. This is the first 2 weeks, the first 5 weeks of running it live. And again, this is focused on the assumption that we're doing this for an IT project, but this is dotting all of the I's and crossing all of the T's to make sure that the project is fully complete, that there are no outstanding residual activities that simply finalizes the work. It's so easy to say, the last deliverable is done, I'm done. Well, maybe, but there may be some implementation, there may be some warranty support, there may be some extra support for running it live. There may be some final closing activities simply to ensure that the project does 100% of what it needs to do. And then we have the important corporate learning. We need to do lessons learned. What worked well in this project and should be repeated? What was challenged in this project and needs to be improved so we don't have those same pitfalls in the next project? And harvesting reusable documents. This project produced the very best training plan ever seen in our organization. Let's make sure we harvest that out, put it out somewhere in a corporate network drive so that everybody can find and reuse and learn from to benefit from this wonderful training plan. And then finally, the formal closing of the project, the finalization, and I like to describe the finalization as the project party. Do something to recognize the project. Include the business, include senior management, but have some form of formal recognition, whether you call it a party or not, or whether you prefer the more formal definition of just a formal recognition, but formally close off the project and recognize that everything is done and the project has been completed. This concludes our nugget on the Prince2 process model, or Steve's terminology, the project lifecycle. And I believe with that model, that visual that we had from the public domain, it does take these processes into a lifecycle aspect. Quick summary: directing of the project, senior management, commitment, and approval. Start up the project, the validation that the project makes sense. Initiating the project, developing the project plan. Project plan, which is going to contain the scope, the budget, the quality, the risk, and everything else that's required to identify all of the work required to get the project done. And then we move into a series of parallel and iterative steps where we control the stage, which is tracking and managing against the project plan, against the project baseline. Also in parallel, we manage project delivery, where we do the work, where the team produces the project deliverables, and we, the project managers, track that that is being done successfully to our quality expectations. And at the end of every stage, we manage the stage boundary, where we gain acceptance, we replan, and we gain the next level of approval that it's okay to proceed. And finally, we close the project, where we wrap it up. We complete all remaining project activities, we gain formal project acceptance, and then we do some party, and I want to use my word party again, to recognize the success of the project. This concludes our nugget on the Prince2 process model. I hope this module was informative for you, and thank you very much for viewing.